Dear students, welcome to the third lecture on Statistical Thermodynamics Part B. In last lecture, we have discussed about classical statistics in which we have learned about Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution law. In this lecture, we will see about quantum statistics. The following contents will be covered in this lecture. We will see the Maxwell-Boltzmann law, its limitation, and two statistics, Bose-Einstein statistic and Fermi-Dirac statistics, and we will see the comparison between the three statistics. In last lecture, we have seen that statistical thermodynamical treatment of a bulk or macroscopic system depends upon two factors. First is nature of microscopic constituents, and the other is occupancy of the energy level. And depending on these factors, different statistics apply to different bulk or microscopic system. In last class, we have seen that particle statistics is of two types, classical statistics and quantum statistics. In classical statistics, the internal structure is not taken into account, whereas in quantum statistics, the internal structure is taken into account. Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics comes under classical statistics, and here the particles are considered to be identical but distinguishable. And the second condition here is that there is no restriction on occupancy. Under quantum statistics, we have two statistics. One is Bose-Einstein and other is Fermi-Dirac. In both the cases, the particles are considered as identical, but they are indistinguishable. And what is the difference between these two statistics then? In Bose-Einstein statistics, as in Maxwell-Boltzmann, there is no restriction on occupancy. And in Fermi-Dirac statistics, there is restriction on occupancy. The particles which follow Bose-Einstein statistics have zero or integral spin. But in classical statistics, the particle can have any value of spin. In Fermi-Dirac statistics, we see that the particles having half integral spin follows this type of statistics. Now let's recapitulate what we have learned in last lecture about Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution. In that we saw bulk or the macroscopic system composed of n identical but distinguishable particles. Here there was no restriction on occupancy of energy level. That means any number of particles can occupy an energy level, but the total number of particles and the total energy of the system must remain constant. So the condition summation of Ni, total number of particles, should be equal to n, and the sum total of all the energies of the particles should be equal to the total energy. Delta Ni represents the change in number of particles in any level. This keeps on changing because the molecule or the particle is constantly in motion. So this can change, but the sum total of the change should be equal to 0. Similarly, the sum total of the change in energy should be equal to 0. And this type of distribution is shown by systems composed of gas molecules, and such particles are known as Boltzmannians or Maxwellians. We are also seen that the number of ways of achieving a distribution is given by W is equal to n factorial divided by n0 factorial, n1 factorial, n2 factorial, and so on. Here we see that the n identical but distinguishable particles are distributed in such a way that n0 particles go into E0 level, n1 goes into E1 level, n2 goes into E2 level. This is for a particular time. The number keeps on changing, but for a given time this remains constant, and we can use these numbers and we can get the value of W. And after that we can calculate the distribution, or we can find out the expression for getting here the number of particles in EI level. Ni is equal to Gi, where Gi is the statistical factor, e to the power minus alpha, e to the power minus Ei upon Kt, where K is Boltzmann constant. And we have seen this derivation in last lecture. Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution law has many limitations. Let us see what are they. Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics, as we know, is based on classical mechanics. So it is valid only within the classical limit. That means it is valid for high temperature as well as when the particle density is low. Now, when the temperature is very low or when the particle density is very high, in that case quantum effects become significant, and in that case this is not valid. It can satisfactorily explain pressure, temperature, etc. of gaseous system very well. Now the question arises, can we distinguish between gas molecules? The answer is no. Now in the light of quantum theory, if we see, this leads to the conclusion that this law is only an approximation and it is valid for gases only at comparatively low density. Apart from this, it could not explain some experimental results like distribution of black body radiation, specific heat at low temperature, etc. If we see the case of photon gas, then according to Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution, there is a continuous number of photons per unit range of frequency as the latter increases. But it is not so in Planck's law. We see that the molar heat capacity of a metal is 3R, but according to Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics, the free electron only contributes 3/2 of R. So these are the limitations due to which new statistics had to be developed, which is known as quantum. Let us first see Bose-Einstein statistics. What are the assumptions and how we can derive the distribution law? Here let us suppose a bulk or macroscopic system with the following conditions. Let the system be composed of n identical but indistinguishable particles. In Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution, we have seen that the particles were identical but distinguishable. Here again the total energy is taken as E and the system is maintained at temperature T. The total number of particles and the total energy must remain constant. Now, as in Maxwell distribution law, again here we see that there is no restriction on occupancy of energy state. That means any number of particles can occupy the energy state. Here these are some of the energy states, and we can see that in this there are 2 particles, here 1, here 3, here 1, here none. So any number of particles can enter the various energy states. Now here the internal structure is taken into consideration, and we see that the particles with zero or integral spin follows this type of statistics. Example of this is photon, mesons and atoms with even mass numbers. One more point here is that the wave function is symmetric. That means whenever we interchange the particle, the wave function, sign of the wave function does not change. So it is symmetric in nature, and such particles are called bosons. Now to clearly differentiate between Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics and Bose-Einstein statistics, let us consider here an example. Consider 4 particles which are distributed in 2 energy levels. Now these 4 particles can be distributed in these 2 energy levels in several ways. For example, we can take 4 and 0, 3 and 1, 2 and 2, 1 and 3, 4 and 0. Now here we will take a particular distribution, that is 3 particles here and 1 particle in 0E level. Now let's see how many microstates are possible in case of Maxwell-Boltzmann and if it is Bose-Einstein statistics. What is the difference between the two? In both the cases, there is no restriction on the occupancy of energy level. So any number of particles can enter these energy levels. So 3 particles can go here and 1 particle can come here. Now here the particles are distinguishable. So let's see in how many ways we can arrange according to Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics. Let's see. So this is one way. Here we have put the blue one and the other 3 in the 1E level. Now we can interchange the position, and instead of this blue we can bring here the red one. Let's see. Okay, we can also have the yellow one in the bottom level or the green. So just interchanging the position, we get new complexion or new microstates. So in total here we have 4 microstates, or in 4 ways we can achieve 3 particle and 1 particle distribution. Now let's see the case of Bose-Einstein statistics. Here what is the difference? Here the particles are identical but indistinguishable. So here these are the 3 identical particles. These are shown by same color, here differentiated by different colors. So if you interchange the position of these 3 with this, no new complexion arises. So there is only 1 microstate or 1 complexion. So in total we see here W is equal to 4 and here W is equal to 1. Now this is non-degenerate energy level. Now suppose if these energy levels are degenerate, that means it consists of several energy states of same energy. So suppose let us assume that this is made up of 4 energy state and again this is made up of 4 energy states. So how can we distribute? So this degeneracy factor is given by the statistical weight factor GI, which is taken as 4 here. In both the cases, in 1E as well as in 0E, we are considering. You can take any number. Here we are taking, for example, only 4 states. Now here one term is mentioned, partitions, which is given by GI minus 1. Partition means, now to differentiate it into 4 energy states, we require how many partitions? Here we require 3 partitions. And according to these 3 partitions, we can fit the 4 particles in these 4 energy states. Any number of particles can enter any energy state. Let us see. We can take 3 on 1 energy state, or 2 and 1, or 1 1 1 distribution. So let's see. This is the first case where we have put all the 3 in the same energy state. You can put in this energy state or in this or here or here. So in this case we have got 4 complexion. Now let's see if 2 and 1 is distributed. So we have taken 2 in this energy state on the first energy state, here again. So how many vacancies are there? 3 possibilities. So the left particle can enter any of these 3 energy states. So there will be 3 complexions. Let's see. Okay, it can enter here or here or here. Similarly, if these 2 particles enter this state or this state or this state, again there will be 3 vacant to which the left particle can enter. So let's see. This is second case, third case, fourth case. Okay, so in total when we distribute 2 and 1, we can get 3 into 4, that is 12 new complexion. Now let us see what if we distribute 1 each. If we distribute 1 each, we see that this last one is vacant here, here the third one, here the second one, and here the first one. So in total here we get 4. So total how much? 4 plus 12 plus 4, that is 20. Now in 0E we are having 1 particle, and this particle can go to either of the 4 energy states. So we will get 4 complexions. So here we are having 20, here we are having 4. Now according to the probability theorem, if the 2 events are mutually exclusive, we add the probabilities. But here these 2 events, they are not mutually exclusive, so their occurrence simultaneously is obtained by the product of the probability. So here probability is 20 and here 4. So the total probability will be product of 20 and 40. So it is 80. This is because these two events are not mutually exclusive, and their simultaneous occurrence is given by the product. And this you have to remember because we will be taking this again. Now we have seen that there were a number of microstates, and according to the principle of equal priori, all the microstates are equally probable. So which will be the most probable distribution? We know that the one with maximum number of macrostates, or which gives the maximum thermodynamic probability, that is W max, is the most probable distribution. And for that the condition is del W or del log W should be equal to 0. Now let us consider the distribution of these n identical indistinguishable particles in various energy levels. We are having energy level E0, E1, E2, etc. and the degeneracy or statistical weight factor is G0, G1, G2, etc. The total energy and total number of particles will remain constant. So this condition, summation of n will be equal to n and summation of del ni will be equal to 0. Similarly, the total energy that will be constant. Now here let's see the distribution, how it is distributed. N0 particles are present in E0 level with the energy state G0. So these numbers, whether the value of energy, this is fixed. The number of energy states available, this is also fixed. Now this N0 particles enters or goes to the level E0 in various G0 energy states. Similarly for N1, N2, N3, etc. will occupy E1, E2, etc. with energy states G1, G2, etc. We can take the general formula, the EI energy level with GI energy states. In this we have Ni particles. So let's see. These energy levels, we have seen that they are considered as degenerate, that means consist of several energy states. And we have to get this Gi energy states, we have how many partitions? Gi minus 1. In the above case, we have seen that for 4 energy state there was 3 partitions. Okay, these 3 partitions keep the particles within the energy states. Now we know that here there is no restriction on the number of particles occupying each energy state. So let's see what is the permutation allowed here. How many particles can enter the particular energy level? So here we are having Ni particles and Gi minus 1 partitions. Okay, so to keep this Ni particles within this Gi energy states, we have Gi minus 1 partitions, and their simultaneous occurrence, since both are mutually exclusive events or exclusive objects, we can add the probability together, Ni plus Gi minus 1 factorial. But we know that the particles are identical but indistinguishable, and to incorporate this indistinguishability, we have to include the permutation of the Ni particles among themselves. Similarly, these are also indistinguishable partitions, Gi minus 1 partitions. So we have to include the permutation among themselves. So what we have to do is we have to divide by Ni factorial and divide by Gi minus 1 factorial. So what do we get? The permutation of simultaneous occurrence of these two is Ni plus Gi minus 1 factorial divided by Ni factorial Gi minus 1 factorial. Now we get the W value for N0, N1, N2, N3, Ni. Okay, and the total probability will be the product of all these probabilities. As we have seen in the above case, 20 into 4 we have obtained 80. There we have taken the various distribution and calculated the value of W. Here just by substituting the value in this formula we will get the value of 80. Let's see. We have in the above example we have seen that we have taken 3 in one energy state and 1. So Ni here is 3. The energy state Gi available is 4. Okay, again this is 3 this is 4. So we will solve this. So here we will get 6 factorial, 3 factorial, 3 factorial. All the common terms we have cancelled out, we will get 20. Similarly, we can calculate for the lower energy level where the particle is 1, energy state available was 4. So here we have 4 factorial. This 1 factorial is equal to 1. So on solving it 4. The total probability will be the product 20 into 4, that is 80. Now let's see the derivation of the distribution law. We have seen just now thermodynamic probability in case of Bose-Einstein statistics is given by this formula. Now we will take the logarithm of this equation. Okay, on taking logarithm, what we will get? Log W, this is product, and product log m into n is log m plus n. That means we will convert this product, it will change into summation. Now this is division, log m by n is equal to log m minus log n. So here we have the numerator minus the denominator terms. We have written this within square bracket and minus sign has been taken outside. Now let us solve this. How can we solve? Gi is very much greater compared to unity. So the number of energy state is very much higher. So we can neglect this unity. So the equation simplifies. Okay. This is the equation which we get. Equation number 3. We have removed the 1. Now we will apply Stirling's approximation. Here we are having 3 factorial terms. Ni plus Gi factorial, Ni factorial and Gi factorial. All logarithmic terms. And we know that according to Stirling's approximation, log n factorial is equal to Ni log Ni minus Ni. So instead of this Ni, we will just put Ni plus Gi. So what we will get? Ni plus Gi log Ni plus Gi minus Ni plus Gi. Similarly, we can solve for Ni. This is same as this. Similarly, we can go for Gi also. Log Gi factorial will be equal to Gi log Gi minus Gi. So let us substitute the value, and what we will get? We will get this equation. Okay. Just you have to substitute. Now we will simplify this equation. This is Ni plus G log Gi plus Ni. Opening the brackets, we get minus Ni minus Gi. Here again minus Ni log Ni minus and minus plus Ni. This will be minus Gi log Ni, and this minus and minus plus Gi. So here we are having minus Ni and plus Ni, minus Gi and plus Gi. They will cancel out. Okay. So we have this is equal to summation Ni log Gi plus Ni plus Gi log Gi plus Ni. Okay. Ni log Gi plus Ni plus Gi log Gi plus Ni minus Ni log Ni minus Gi log Gi. Okay. Now here we are having 2 terms with Ni and 2 terms with Gi. So we can take them common. So let's see. So log W will become equal to summation Ni has been taken common log Gi plus Ni, and this is minus log Ni. Okay. So we will get in the form of division plus Gi log Gi plus Ni is there, and this is minus log Gi. So it will again come in the form of division. Now this fraction, we can write this in fraction. Ni upon Ni is 1 plus Gi upon Ni, and this is Gi upon Gi 1 plus Ni upon Gi. So let's see, we will get this equation. Now this was the equation 4 which we got. We will differentiate this equation. On differentiation, we know that this is different product, okay, Ni and log of this. We are having product and we have to differentiate it. what do? We will keep one constant and differentiate the other. So here we have kept this one constant and differentiating del ni. Then we will keep ni constant and differentiate this log term. Similarly here we are having two terms. So we will keep log 1 plus ni gi constant and del gi, plus gi is kept constant and will differentiate this logarithmic term. And we know that del log x is given by 1 by x del x. So we can solve this and this using this expression. How? Here if you take this equation, we will have 1 plus gi upon ni. Common we will take ni. So we will have ni plus gi divided by ni. So 1 by x will be the reciprocal of this. Ni will go in the numerator and ni plus gi will come down. Okay. And we have del xi. Okay. We can write the differentiation of this. Similarly here also we can write this as gi plus ni upon gi. 1 by x will be inverse of this and xi will be this term. So let's see what do we get. This term is written as such. This is ni. 1 upon x has been written like this. Del, then this is the x. Similarly, this has been written as such, and this again 1 by x del x form, we will get this form. Okay. Now this differentiation of g number of energy state available is constant. Okay. So differentiation of this will be equal to 0. So that term will drop out. So we have this term and we differentiate this, and you know differentiation of u upon v is given by v du minus u dv upon v square. Just applying that, we will get here minus gi upon ni square. Similarly here also du upon v, v du minus u dv upon v square, we get 1 upon g. Okay, and del gi is 0, so this term will drop out. So let's see. Here we are having ni square this will cancel, gi and gi this will cancel. So the equation simplifies to just this term, because we have minus gi upon gi plus ni, and here plus gi upon gi plus ni term, and these two terms will cancel out and we are left with only this. So this is equation number 5. Now we have differentiated it. Now let's see what is the condition for most probable distribution. For most probable distribution, del w or del log w should be equal to 0. We will put this condition in this equation. We will get del log w is equal to summation log 1 plus gi upon ni del ni equal to 0. This equation number 7. Now we have seen the condition for most probable distribution, which has been equated to 0, and that has to be followed under certain constraint. What are the constraint? The total number of particle and total energy should remain constant. Del ni, earlier also I have told, this term can change because the particle is in constant motion. So this number of particle and the energy goes on changing, but the total change will be 0 and total change in energy will be 0. So we will apply whenever we have this type of constraint and we have to solve, we will use the Lagrange method of undetermined multipliers, which we have also seen in Maxwell distribution law. What we have to do is that we have to multiply this by alpha, multiply this equation 9 by beta. Let's see what we get. So we have multiplied equation 8 by alpha and equation 9 by beta. We will get this equation, and we have already the condition of most probable distribution, which is equal to 0. Now this can be solved in many ways. We can add all the three just by putting a minus sign here, and we can sum up all, or we can add these two and subtract these two so as to get it in the form of Maxwell distribution law. So here we are adding equation 10 and 11 and subtract 7. So we get summation is common, del Ni is common. So we have alpha plus beta Ei minus 1 plus Gi upon Ni. This is equal to 0. Now here del Ni, it keeps on changing. It is variable, and these variables, they are independent of each other. So this cannot be equal to 0. So how can this equation be satisfied? As in the case of Maxwell distribution law, the terms within the summation or within this bracket, they should be equal to 0. So we have equated this to equal to 0. Now we can rearrange this. You can take this to this side. So we have log 1 plus Gi upon Ni is equal to alpha plus beta Ei. Let this be equation number 14. Now let's see how we can solve it further. Let us remove logarithm from equation 14. This is natural log, that means this is log to the base e. So if we remove log from here, we will get here the base e. So on removing logarithm, we have 1 plus Gi upon Ni. This is equal to e to the power alpha plus beta Ei. Now we can bring this 1 to the right hand side. So we have Gi upon Ni equal to e to the power alpha plus beta Ei minus 1, where beta is equal to 1 upon kt and k is Boltzmann constant. Now to get the distribution of Ni particle, we can just take the reciprocal of this equation. We will have, just invert it. We have Ni upon Gi equal to 1 upon this term e to the power alpha plus beta Ei minus 1. This term is known as occupancy index, number of particle per energy state, which is known as occupancy index. We will take this term later on. Now you can just rearrange this Gi to this place and we can get the Bose-Einstein statistics. So this equation gives the Bose-Einstein statistics, the distribution of Ni particles in energy level Ei with Gi energy state. Now this Bose-Einstein distribution finds several applications, but one of the main application is if we put e to the power alpha equal to 1, we can derive the Planck's radiation law. So we have seen how we can derive the Bose-Einstein distribution, Bose-Einstein statistics. Now let's see Fermi-Dirac statistics. What are the assumptions and how we can arrive at the expression? Again, we are considering here a bulk system composed of n identical but indistinguishable particle. The total number energy is E, temperature is T, total number and total energy remains conserved. But here the difference is that here there is restriction on occupancy of energy state. Let's see what is the restriction. Here not more than one particle can enter a given energy state. It is according to the Pauli's exclusion principle. We know that according to Pauli's exclusion principle, if we take the consider electron, no two electrons can have all the four quantum numbers same. Even if the three quantum numbers are same, the last one, that is the spin, should at least be different. Okay. Here the internal structure is taken into account and we see that the particle which have the half integral spin follows Fermi-Dirac statistics. Example for this are electron, proton, etc. One more point here is that the wave function is anti-symmetric. But in Bose-Einstein we have seen that the wave function was symmetric. Anti-symmetric here means if we interchange the position of the particles, the sign of the wave function will change. and such particles are called fermions. Now let us differentiate between the Bose-Einstein distribution and Fermi-Dirac. In both the cases, we see that the particles are identical and indistinguishable. So it has been shown in same colors. Now in case of Bose-Einstein, there is no restriction on occupancy. That means any number of particles can enter the energy states. But in case of Fermi-Dirac, according to Pauli's exclusion principle, only one particle will occupy each energy state. So let us clarify it. Now let us consider four particles distributed into energy levels in such a way that there are three particles in 1e and one particle in 0e, as we have seen in Bose-Einstein. In case of Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution, we have seen that new complexion arises when we interchange the position because the particles were distinguishable. But in Bose-Einstein statistics, we have seen that there was no new complexion, only one microstate was possible for this distribution. Now we further consider that these energy states are partitioned into four energy states. In case of Bose-Einstein, we have seen that there was no restriction and the probability obtained for three particles was 20 and for the one particle it was 4. So the total was 20 into 4, 80. But here the difference is that in Fermi-Dirac statistics, the Pauli's exclusion principle has to be followed and only one particle will go to one energy state. So where there are three particles, we will see that all the three will not go to the same energy state, or the two particles cannot sit at the one energy state. Only one particle per energy state. So how many possibilities are there? Only 4 possibility. And for the one particle, again we have, it can sit here, here, here or here. Again 4. So here the total probability will be 4 into 4 because again these are not mutually exclusive, and for the simultaneous occurrence we have to take the product of probabilities. So it comes out to be 16. Okay. Now we have seen that we are having 16 possible microstates. Now out of this, the most probable will be with the maximum number of microstates, or for which the condition will be del W or del log W is equal to 0. Now let us understand the distribution of these particles. Here we are having n identical indistinguishable particles, same energy level E0, E1, E2, etc. with different energy states which are degenerate energy levels. Total energy is maintained at E, temperature at T. The difference or the main point here is that with not more than one particle in each energy state. These energy states, they can be in very large number, but in each energy state only one particle can enter. But the total number of particle and total energy must remain constant. So these condition, as in Maxwell distribution as well as in Bose-Einstein, this will be followed here also. Here N0 particle enters energy level E0 with energy state G0. Okay, but this G0 energy state will be singly occupied. This is the difference between the Bose-Einstein and the Fermi-Dirac. Here only one particle per energy state can occupy. But in case of Bose-Einstein, any number of particles can enter this energy state. So here we see that the energy state Gi, it is very much greater than the number of particles available. Now how can we arrange these Ni particles in energy level Ei with Gi energy states when there is restriction such that one particle must occupy per energy state? So let us calculate what are the possible ways of arranging these particles. We have seen that Gi, or the energy state, is very large in number as compared to the number of particles here. So the possible arrangements will depend upon the available energy state, because only one particle occupies each energy state. Suppose we are having 5 energy states and 3 particles, then 1, 1, 1 will go, 3 will be occupied, and how many will remain vacant? 2 will remain occupied. Okay, 3 occupied and 2 vacant. So by knowing the number of occupied and unoccupied, we can easily calculate the permutation. So the total permutations will be Gi factorial. Again, here we see that the particles are identical and indistinguishable. So the particles, the permutation among the Ni particles has to be included. Similarly, the vacant Gi minus Ni, they are also identical and indistinguishable. So this has also to be incorporated or included in our formula. So the permutation, total permutation is Gi factorial. Now the actual number is obtained by dividing by these permutation Ni factorial as well as Gi minus Ni factorial. So we get the actual number of distribution of Ni particles in Ei energy level with Gi energy state. Now this is for the ith. Similarly for N0, N1, N2, we have several values of this distribution or number of ways of achieving. The total probability will be the product of all the values. So the thermodynamic probability will be product of all the Gi Ni factorial and Gi minus Ni factorial terms. We have taken the example of 3 and 1 distribution. Let us put it in equation and see whether we will get the same result. We have seen that Gi, we have taken the energy state available 4. So this is 4 factorial, and 4 factorial is 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Ni, in the above we had 3 particle. Gi minus Ni, that is 4 minus 3, this is the vacant number. So 1 factorial is 1. So we have here 4. Similarly, for the second energy level, we have seen there was 1 particle and 4 energy states available. So we have got here 4. So 4 into 4 will give 16. Okay. So we can easily calculate just by taking the product of all the W's of the. Now how can we get the distribution law? The thermodynamic probability, as we have seen, is given by this equation, and now we will take the logarithm of this equation. So on taking log, what we will get? Log W. This product, as we have seen earlier, this will change into summation, and these are product, so this will add up of log M plus log N. Okay, this will add, and this is division, so log M minus log N. Using that we will get this equation. Now we have 3 factorials here, log Gi factorial, log Ni factorial, and log Gi minus Ni factorial. In the same case as we have seen in Bose-Einstein and Maxwell distribution, we will solve it using the Stirling's approximation. Just put the Gi here, we will get Gi log Gi minus Gi, and similarly for Ni this will be the same, and Gi minus Ni we will put here, 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 and here. So let's see what we will get. So we have put the values of Stirling's approximation. Now we will simplify it by opening the brackets and cancelling the terms which are common. So this we have Gi log Gi minus Gi, opening the bracket, minus Ni log Ni, minus and minus, this will be plus Ni, minus into plus, this will be minus Gi minus Ni, log Gi minus Ni, this minus and minus, this will be plus, this minus and minus plus, and this minus minus Ni. So these terms will cancel out, plus Gi and minus Gi, plus Ni and minus Ni. Now we will simplify this. Gi log Gi minus Ni log Ni minus G log Gi minus Ni, and we have minus into minus, this is plus Ni Gi minus Ni. So just we go on simplifying. As in the case of Bose-Einstein, we have seen that there are two GI here terms and two NI terms. We can take it common. Let us take the GI one first. GI log GI. This is minus log, so this will go to the denominator, GI minus NI. Here NI log GI minus NI, and this will come to the denominator NI. Okay, so we will simplify this. Now to simplify this, let us take this to the numerator and this to the denominator, and let us put minus here. So we have minus GI and just inverted this by putting a minus. Okay, we have taken this term here. So simplifying, G upon Ni, we have minus Ni upon Ni is 1. Similarly, we can simplify this, Gi upon Gi, this will be 1 minus Ni upon Gi. So we have got this in terms of fraction. So this is equation number 3 and we will solve it further. So this is equation number 3 and we will differentiate this equation. As we have solved earlier, differentiation of two products, what we have to do? du into v. We will keep one constant, differentiate the other, plus keeping the other constant, differentiating the second one. Okay, in both the cases we have the product of two functions, so we will apply the same conditions. So we have kept this constant, differentiated Ni, then we have put Ni constant, differentiated this. Similarly here, first we have taken this common, differentiated Gi, then put the Gi constant and differentiated this. And differentiation we have seen already, differentiation of log x is given by 1 by x del x. So here and here we will apply the same and we will solve. So we have got this equation. Now here we see that del Gi, the number of energy state available, is constant for a given energy level. So the differentiation of constant is 0. So this term will drop out. So we will simplify it further. So we have log Gi minus Gi upon Ni minus 1 del Ni. This has been taken as such, Ni upon Gi minus Ni. Here we have differentiation of u upon v form. V du minus u dv upon v square. We will get minus g upon n square here, and here we will get minus gi upon gi square. You can easily solve it just using the simple differentiation formula. So here we see that ni square will cancel, gi square will cancel. We are left with minus gi upon gi minus ni. This is plus term, and this is minus gi upon gi minus ni. So these two terms, again these will cancel. Okay, we have just written the same equation, we have cancelled it, and we have finally got del log w is equal to summation log gi upon ni minus 1 del ni. Okay, now the most probable distribution, the condition is del w or del log w should be equal to 0. So just putting the condition here and we get the most probable distribution for the Fermi-Dirac statistics. Now we have to solve this equation under this condition, but it has two constraints. We have already seen the total number of particles and the total energy must remain constant. Under these two constraints, we will apply the Lagrange method of undetermined multipliers, which is simply we will multiply equation 7 by alpha, equation 8 by beta. Then we have already the most probable distribution. As in the case above, for the Bose-Einstein, we can add all the three by just putting minus sign here, or add these two and subtract this equation. So we get this equation. Okay, here del ni this is variable and all are independent of each other, so this cannot be equal to 0. So to satisfy this equation, the term within the summation should be equal to 0. So we have this condition, so summation this equal to 0. Okay, we can rearrange this. We can get log gi by ni minus 1 equal to alpha plus beta ei. Let this be equation number 30. Now we will remove the logarithm from this equation. Again we will get the e base here. We can rearrange, one can be taken here, so we will get plus 1. In case of Bose-Einstein statistics, we got plus minus 1 here, and here we get plus 1. We can just invert this equation and get the occupancy index. So we have got Ni upon Gi so as to get the distribution of Ni particles in energy level Ei. So this is can be rearranged, Gi can be taken here, and so we have got the equation which gives the Fermi-Dirac distribution. This also finds several applications. Among them, the most important is that we can derive the expression for heat capacity of metals at no temperature. Now coming to the comparison between the three statistics: Maxwell-Boltzmann, Bose-Einstein and Fermi-Dirac. Out of this is classical. These two follow the quantum statistics. Here the internal structure is ignored. Here the internal structure is taken into account. Here the particle is distinguishable. Here in both the cases, particle is identical and indistinguishable. In Maxwell-Boltzmann and Bose-Einstein, there is no restriction on occupancy. Any number of particles can enter each energy state, but here the particle has to follow the Pauli's exclusion principle. Not more than one particle can enter each state. Here the 6-dimensional space, it is not known. Here it is known. It is the volume of the cell is of the order h cube, where h is the Planck's constant. Same is the case here. If we see the spin, here spin can have any value. Here the particle with 0 or integral spin, and here particle with half integral spin. Here wave function doesn't have any significance. Here we see that wave function is symmetric. That means on exchanging the particle, the sign of the wave function does not change. But here on exchanging the particle, interchanging the particle, the sign of the wave function changes. That is, this is anti-symmetric. Here we see that the energy depends upon temperature. So at absolute 0 we say we can take energy as 0. Same is the case here in Bose-Einstein, but here we see that at absolute 0 the energy is not 0. These particles are known as Boltzmannians or Maxwellians. Bose-Einstein statistics followers are known as bosons, and those which follow Fermi-Dirac are known as fermions. Example, in Maxwell-Boltzmann, ideal gas molecules. In case of Bose-Einstein, we have photons, mesons and atoms with even mass. Here we have electron, proton, etc. Moreover, we see that as high temperature approaches, in case of Bose-Einstein as well as in Fermi-Dirac statistics, it approaches the Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution, because we have seen the equation all have the same type of equation. Just if we put a gamma term in the denominator, we can find that here it will be 0, here it will be minus 1 and here plus 1. Okay. Now let's see how it differs in the number of ways of achieving. In case of Maxwell-Boltzmann, it is given by W is equal to n factorial product of Gi to the power Ni divided by Ni factorial. In case of Bose-Einstein, it is product of Ni plus Gi minus 1 factorial divided by Ni factorial, Gi minus 1 factorial. And in case of Fermi-Dirac, it is given by product of Gi factorial divided by Ni factorial, Gi minus Ni factorial, where N is the total number of particles, Gi is the available energy state, Ni is the number of particles in level Ei with energy state Gi. So Gi is the statistical weight factor or the number of energy states available. Now the maximum probability distribution is proportional to 1 upon e to the power alpha plus beta Ei in case of Maxwell-Boltzmann. In case of Bose-Einstein, we have an additional -1 term in denominator, and in Fermi-Dirac we have an additional +1 term in the denominator. So we can write a general equation by just putting plus gamma over here. In this case, the gamma will be equal to 0. Here gamma will be equal to -1, and here gamma will be equal to +1. Similarly, we can write the expression for distribution of Ni particles with energy Ei in general form, Gi upon e to the power alpha plus beta Ei. Here Gi upon e to the power alpha plus beta Ei minus 1. Here Ni is equal to Gi divided by e to the power alpha plus beta Ei plus 1. And here beta is equal to 1 upon kT in all the cases where k is Boltzmann constant. Now we can see the distribution curves by plotting Ni upon Gi, which is known as the occupancy index, number of particles per energy state, versus the energy levels. In case of Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution, we see that at 0 Kelvin it is the 0th energy level. Now it depends upon temperature, occupancy depends upon temperature. As we go on increasing the temperature, we see that the curve changes. Here if we see the shape of the curve, it is exponential. The decrease of the occupancy number is exponential in all the cases. Now in case of Bose-Einstein, if we see that the earlier it is a steeper graph, then it becomes exponential. So the decrease of the occupancy number is very fast, rapid in the beginning, and then it follows exponential. Now as the temperature increases, this is for the 1000 Kelvin, this is for 5000 Kelvin, and this is for 10,000 Kelvin. We see that the shape of the curve, here it was all exponential. Here we see that the shape of the curve changes to the Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution at higher temperature. Now if we take the case of Fermi-Dirac, we see that Pauli's exclusion principle is followed here, and the maximum occupancy index here is 1. Okay, and we will get a vertical line here for many energy level, and after that we will see that it drops down, and the highest occupied energy level is known as at the 0 Kelvin. At the 0 Kelvin we are having this curve which is just parallel to this line, and then we have shown it by vertical line. That means that is the highest occupied energy level, which is the Fermi energy level. And we see that as the temperature increases here, the shape of the curve changes, the occupancy number decreases over here, then it has an inflection point, and the value of the inflection point, if you see the occupancy, it is just half of this, it is at 0.5. So at other temperatures, when the energy level is half occupied, that energy level is known as the Fermi energy. So this is all the difference between and the similarities between the three statistics, both classical as well as quantum statistics. So with this we finish here. So with this we finish this lecture. Thank you very much.